Mark lay there, on the ground. His life was fading in and out. He'd never felt more pain in his life until now. He did not know what to think of this. For if this was the end, he could only pray that he would end up in heaven. If this was it, if this was how he died, he wished for it. He wished for a second chance. He lay there paralyzed below the waist, blood gently pouring down his mouth, eyes wide in horror, pain, fear, but also acceptance. His mother lay there, stroking his hair. A car had went too fast and slammed into his motorcycle. And this was right outside of his mom's house whenever he came in. Whenever he was going to come talk to her, tell her how much he loved her, tell her how much he regretted not being there. And now he would die. His mother was whispering into his ear, it was going to be all right. He could hear sirens in the distance. The nice blue sky above him, the breeze against his face, the leaves faltering in the wind, the grass. And he would die. He would die. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to die. Not like this. He couldn't die like this. He couldn't accept the fact that this was how it was going to end. He couldn't accept that he'd fade away into nothing, to be mere dust, forgotten. He couldn't accept this. He couldn't! Yet, there was nothing he could do. There was nothing anyone could do. And he would lie. He would die. He would fade, become mere memory. He didn't want this, but this... if this is to happen, then he could only pray for God's forgiveness. He could only pray that he get a second chance. Mark stood there, amongst his friends, still wearing his nice silver armor and his silver long sword. He left his shield and short sword at home, along with Thorax, who was talking with Fluttershy and Rarity. He was at a farm, Sweet Apple Acres, helping get the apples done for the whole bucking season, or whatever the hell AJ said. He liked Mac, even though he was a man of few words. I guess he kind of got stuff done, with the very few things he said, of course. After a little bit of getting stuff done, moving one thing to another, he'd taken a break. And Mac, surprisingly, not. He was busy talking to AJ. So, Miss Applejack. What is it that you are wanting to know? Well, Sugar Cube, it ain't a secret. I want to let you know that you're much appreciated around the farm. You've been helping out, and you've been doing so much, and you saved the town about a week ago. And you didn't even show off. Didn't gloat or anything. I'm telling you, you're wiser and nobler than most stallions out here. And you don't got an ego either. He let out a soft chuckle and said, Dear Applejack, I don't gloat and boost my ego. Reason is, there's nothing that gets accomplished out of it. Applejack. Sorry, there's a fly in here. Motherfucker. Anyway. I got him. Got his bitch ass. Alright, sorry. Sorry. Sorry, it was really bugging me. But anyway, back to the story. Okay. Applejack had been staring at him. Whether it was out of curiosity, or whether it was out of some other feeling, he couldn't tell. He had felt appreciated, and that made him feel happy. You know, Sugar Cube, might I say something, if it's alright with you? Sure, AJ. You can say anything. Well, you've done so much. You've saved my sister, you've saved the town, you've done a great deal. And they were inside the barn. I just really wanted to thank you. No thanks is needed. They were sitting on hay. But I really need to. AJ props both of her hooves up and places them on the leggings of his armor, standing up eye to eye with him while he's sitting. AJ, really, there's no need. His helmet is off. But there is. His eyes are so beautiful. AJ thought. And I know you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say. He looked at AJ. Those beautiful green eyes, that amazing orange coat. She was beautiful beyond belief. And damn. He was wondering why this was happening to him. In other terms, he wondered if this technically counts as bestiality. Shrugged his shoulders. Kind of. In his head, at least. I said, look, AJ, I don't... And at that, his whole world had died. Sound, anyway. His heart was thumping out of his chest. It felt like hundreds and thousands of tiny firecrackers were exploding out through his body. The adrenaline, the shock running through his nerves. His heart was going crazy. His mind was moving in and out. He was surprised. AJ had leant forward and kissed him. They were making out. He'd fallen over into the hay and they were making out. He lay there. His whole world was different. AJ stopped kissing and said, well, Sugar Cube, how was that for a little piece of gratitude? he cleared his throat and said, he stood up and said, "That was really nice, to be honest. Now, Sugar Cube, there's also another way you can thank me, since I'm in heat and..." Fuck that. He turned, ran at the wall, and teleported straight through it, and began running his ass down the ranch, zipping by trees. He didn't want to overstep his bounds. He didn't want to do anything that would seem risky and get his ass kicked by Big Mac. But at the same time, he didn't really know if he could bring himself to do something such as that. But it was whatever. After a little bit, he was at a pond. Relaxing. And relaxing. Staring into the pool beneath him. Till he heard a fatal swoop next to him. And realized Dash had just arrived. He wasn't no lover boy, but god damn, that brought a lot to his mind. But anyway, Dash was here. At least he could think of something different. Sup, Dash? Nothing much. What are you doing, metalhead? Ever since he'd worn that helmet, that's one of the nicknames he got. Next to Tin Can. It wasn't all that bad. Better than being called Egghead. Of course, with Rainbow, the sitch was different. The sitch and the knob were turned in different directions. Many different things happened. He didn't know what to think. The fact that he made out with Applejack, or the fact that she was planning to present herself to him to fornicate or have sex. He decided to get his mind off the whole ordeal and say, "So, AJ, I'd like to thank you." He began thinking of that, to go up to AJ and say, "I'd like to thank you for the good time, kissing you and everything, but I'm not exactly sure if I'm ready for this kind of thing." You know what? Why does he need to think about that now? He pushed it aside and decided to talk to his friend in front of him. "So, Rainbow, you want to go cloud busting?" That devilish smile. "Buck yeah!" Cloud busting was basically a creative form. What they would do is Rainbow would set up a bunch of clouds and change around their particles and such to the point where they would be near ready to strike a lightning. And the objective of the whole game is for, well, him, aka Mark, not to get struck by lightning. And he had this special kind of staff. It was an alicorn staff and unicorn staff. Basically, it was used by them magically, where if a cloud got stuck somewhere on their house, they could just poke it and it would go away. With him, though, he'd used it as a spear. He'd toss it up and bust a cloud. And oh boy. Every game they play of Cloud Bust, he'd get his ass shocked. But it was a laugh, nevertheless. As long as him and Rainbow got to get quality time to talk and visit and just have fun, he wouldn't mind it one bit. Rainbow was a good friend. They were both good friends. They smiled. He looks back He may or may not have had sex with Blue Blood. Then he had that encounter with AJ. Could this day get any worse? Or any weirder? Or this week? And then he'd slain a bunch of changelings. But he shrugged that thought off. However, fate had a weird way of showing itself towards him. After what felt like minutes, they both stared at each other. Rainbow stared at Mark, and Mark stared at Rainbow, and he said, "So?" He smirked. "How are you and Sorens doing?" Rainbow blushed at the implication. She hated when he brought this up, just as much as he hated being called Tin Can or Metalhead or an assortment of other little pokes and jabs of fun at him. Rainbow and Mark, they were bros. They were walking in the town laughing at each other's expense, making jokes and comments. All was well. Until he saw something that made his eye twitch a little bit. He'd heard of this ego-chapped son of a bitch. This egotistical dipshit, this douchebag, who was like every other alpha male, well, wasn't really human, but kind of had the physique of one. His name was Iron Will. God, he was about to smack the shit out of him for getting his face all up in Fluttershy's face. And boy, this was about to be a fight.